Good news! The SAT has omitted the inclusion of analogies, and as a result, so has the vocabulary workshop workbooks published by Sadler or Oxford. Then what, you might wonder, is the purpose to continue learning and practicing word analogies? The purpose of word analogies is to demonstrate relationships between one set of words or phrases to another set of words or phrases. A second purpose of analogies is to elicit logical thinking. Hello, this is Christina Mattis, here to present an overview on word analogies. This video will guide you through how to construct an analogy and provide you with a sample list of the various types of analogies in addition to some examples of such analogies. Let's first take a look at how to construct an analogy. First, what do those colons mean? Well, one set of colons is used for the words is to or related to, and a double set of colons is used for the word as. The analogy is read A is to B as C is to D, or A is related to B as C is related to D. Analogies are typically read from left to right. Whatever is on the right side of the double colon has a similarity demonstrated on the left side of the colon. Now, remember how I mentioned that analogies demonstrate relationships between one set of words or phrases to another set of words or phrases? Here, A is somehow related to B and C is somehow related to D. Keep in mind also that both sets demonstrate a similar relationship. For instance, if we were to replace A with construction and B with contractor, we can deduce that the action of the construction is done by a contractor. We would look for a similar set of related words for the right side of the double colon. Logically, C could be replaced with planting and D with gardener because planting is something that a gardener does. Let's move on to a list of types of analogies. Keep in mind that this is not a complete list, but a decent enough compilation of commonly used analogies. Synonyms, antonyms, characteristic or quality, function or purpose, part to whole, definition, classification, cause and effect, location, degree, association, action, extremes. I would like to emphasize that some of these analogies can be reversed. For instance, the analogy type part to whole could also be read whole to part. You will just have to be aware of what the relationship is asking for. To get a better idea of what each analogy type looks like, let's take a look at some examples. First, there's synonyms, such as persuasive is to convincing, dry is to arid, lost is to misplaced. Antonyms, for instance, starvation is to binging. Those are complete opposites. Kind is to cruel, very opposite. And hackneyed is to original, very different. Characteristic or quality, for instance, a mirror is to smooth as sandpaper is to rough. So for instance, smooth is the quality of the mirror and rough is the quality of the sandpaper. We then move on to function or purpose. So for instance, gills are to breathe as teeth are to chew. Scalpel is to cut, shovel is to dig. Part to whole. Stanza is to poem. Soldier is to platoon. Cactus is to desert. Act is to play. Remember, some analogies can be reversed. So if I were to ask whole to part, we would simply reverse the examples. A poem is the whole, whereas the part is the stanza, and so on. There are definitions. Procrastinate is to delay. Petulant is to irritated. Lurid is to gruesome. Classifications. A cardinal is a type of bird. It's classified as a bird. A polka is a classification of a dance. Victorian is to house. Cause and effect are another type of analogies. Starvation is to hunger. One causes the other. Tears are to sadness. Tears are an effect or the result of sadness. Location. Chicago is to Illinois as San Jose is to California. Oasis is to desert as kitchen is to home. Notre Dame is to San Jose as Mercy High School is to San Francisco. Degree. Whimper is to cry. Whimper is the softer version of crying. Chuckle is to laugh. Chuckling is a softer version of laughing. Yell is to whisper. Yell is much louder than a whisper, so it's the degree of. Associations can also be analogies. A cashier is to cash, as a plumber is to pipe. Actions. Author is to write, as chef is to cook. Boil is to egg, throw is to ball. Extremes. Warm is to swelter. Cold is to freeze. Anthill is to Mount Kilimanjaro. You go from one extreme to the next. Now you may be thinking to yourself that analogies are just meant to trick you. Well, some may seem that way, but that's where your logical thinking has to come into play. For instance, choosing the correct logical relationship for the example bird is to nest may be confusing based on the provided options. Dog is to doghouse, squirrel is to tree, beaver is to dam, cat is to litter box, book is to library. If multiple answers seem correct, you need to refine the relationship between the paired words to be more specific. So for instance, a bird lives in a nest, just as a squirrel lives in a tree and a dog lives in a doghouse. But if you reassess the logical thinking here, a bird builds a nest, just like a beaver builds a dam. So in this case, the correct answer is beaver is to dam. Another example where you might have to put forth a little more thinking is the example Dalmatian is to dog. Your possible answers are blue jay is to bird, horse is to colt, shark is to hammerhead, rabbit is to animal, and stock is to savings. A Dalmatian is a type or species of dog, just like a blue jay is a type of bird. So in this case, the answer is blue jays to bird. Be careful not to reverse the relationship as shark is to hammerhead, because the hammerhead, in fact, is the type of shark. I hope that this review has presented you with a better understanding of what analogies are, how to construct analogies, and why analogies are purposeful. Now that you have a better sense as to what analogies are and the types of analogies that exist, you can go ahead and create your personal book of analogies to act as your personal reference guide in the future. To do so, dedicate one page per analogy type. Then, using pictures and words from a magazine, design your very own examples. You can revise your book of analogies as you see fit by having the option to continuously add examples. Thank you, and here's to happy logical thinking.